What's up, everybody? It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama Sisters, Season 9, Episode 14. Pull Up On Me. I'm like, I didn't get that title. Can somebody help me with that? Pull Up On Me. Anyway, before we get started, if you're new here or if you're returning and have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now, hit that subscribe button, then hit the notification bell and select all. It'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you smash that like button, which is the thumbs up button, write a comment, join the conversation, give us your 2 cents, and then share the video because sharing is caring and you want to help this sister's channel grow. That's right. So this episode was pretty good. It started off with Aaron and Karen. She's letting him know that she wants to leave Atlanta, not Georgia, Atlanta. And he's telling her it's a crazy idea. Just because you had a bad year doesn't mean you should get up and leave. Then he comes out and has to ask that question about Zach's baby. If it hadn't died, would she have wanted to get up and move? And she said, I don't know. And she said, when she think about it, having to co-parent with him all that time might have been really stressful. So they had the conversation. Then she let him know there was other reasons that she wanted to go too, like his ex-wife, what she went through, and her brother, and the Gary getting stabbed. She was naming all the stuff. He's telling her she's focusing on the negative, but it's stuff enough that you want to move and leave. And then she's talking about how she don't even give much attention to the salon anymore. Even Pam is noticing she don't come by, so she don't really care about these things. She needs a fresh start, and that's what she wants to do. And he's trying to debunk it and stop her, but now he may be getting on board. Anywho, next we have Zach showing up to Fatima's job to come and apologize for this and for that, things he said, things he did, and then he's like waiting for Fatima to do her. She did her apologies to him for things she said and did. Then she was like, that's it. And he was like, that's it. She said everything else was your fault. He said, what about Chaz? So then she said, oh yeah. And so they was discussing that, the whole Chaz thing. And then out of nowhere, who comes around the corner but Chaz? Talking about, damn little man, you follow her everywhere? And she's like, Chaz, what are you doing here? Like, they didn't have no appointment. I wanted to talk business. I didn't like the way we left off and all this stuff. And Zach is like, no, we ain't doing that. But honey, Fatima got up and stood by her man and told Chaz she will always pick Zach. Zach will always come first. And if he can't respect her and her fiance, then they are no longer doing business together. He said, but I'm the client. You can't tell me how it goes. She said, you are no longer my client. And he told her she was going to regret it, after they had a little back and forth and stuff. And then here come Hayden in here thinking he going to smooth things over and make everything all good. Telling Chaz he the big dog around there. He got him. And Chaz is like, get out of my face, you little old igger, And he's like, oh, such aggression. And he left out of there. And Zach and Fatima just was laughing at him. She was tired of Chaz causing issues between her and Zach. It didn't make no sense. And he's like, I thought you were smart. You going to pass up this money for him? I'm like, what is this, boy? She said, you young and immature, and she can't deal with that. So I was glad Fatima stood by Zach for that. Next, we have this scene with Danny, and she's coming into the airport, and she said the energy was feeling strange, and she turned around, and she sees Leonard walking towards her, and he got a box in his hand. Come to find out, he got fired, and she's laughing, and she's told him, it's ironic how you spent all this time trying to get me fired and you the one that got fired. So he swears he's going to see her on the unemployment line, he told her. But she let him know that you need to make some noise about this. I mean, I wouldn't have went out there that easy like that after giving all my time. So he started yelling, F I hire airline, F hire airline. He's so stupid. And so he goes by, and that's when Miss Brown from Human Resources walks up. She was the one instrumental in getting Danny fired when that whole thing happened with Tony and Leonard and everything. But anyway, now Danny's trying to be cool with her and everything. And she's like, please, I need my job. Don't fire me and stuff. She's like, look, I'm not firing you. She said, I'm just reducing your hours because we have cutbacks in the airline. So Danny was really relieved and went back to her desk to do some work. Then we have a quick scene where Andy's calling Sabrina and complaining about Danny and Sabrina's like, I know, but she called me last night, but what actually happened? And Andy told her that Danny came in her apartment, busting her apartment, accusing her of being with Gary and calling her a liar. And she's like, I wasn't with Gary. And Sabrina finally said something reasonable, like, we all get on edge when you're around Gary. We don't know what's going on. And then she told her, the only reason it's an issue is because you lied. If you didn't lie, we wouldn't be thinking something. And she said, I'm not a liar. She said, then why? She said, well, I was just trying to keep it on the low because to be transparent, I was working on something for Karen or whatever. So Sabrina finally stood up and let her know what the dealio was. So anyway, in the middle of that, here come Maurice saying something, and Sabrina tells Andy she got to get off the phone. And his thing is somebody's walking around like trying to rob the place or something he's saying. But what happened earlier was Rock came in there to deposit money. He deposited $10 and Maurice told him, you now have a balance of $8. You no longer in the negative. I thought that was so funny. But then out of nowhere, Maurice is talking to him and Rock comes into Sabrina's office. Like, how do you get to just walk in there like that? And so Sabrina's realizing I can't be having these men just showing up at my job, and Rock is trying to apologize and I didn't know and trying to plead his case and everything. And Sabrina's just like going with it. He said, didn't I give you a good time? Everybody lie on them sites. Da 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 da. But here's Sabrina trying to get Maurice to leave. Maurice is like, I ain't going nowhere. I'm watching the whole thing. So Rock left saying, when you want a good time again, call Dr. Rock and I'll help you out or whatever. So he left and Maurice is like, say what now? So now Sabrina's wondering what's she gonna do. Should she go for the D or should she stick with what she promised Danny that she wouldn't mess with her cousin? So next thing you know, they're standing, it seemed like by the front door. It's Paige, Maurice, and Sabrina, and they're talking. And Paige is like, what's the matter, Sabrina? You still got Dr. Rock on your mind and all this stuff. And Sabrina's like, I don't think I feel comfortable talking about my personal life with you. I was like, girl, please. Paige had to help you get a man. You know what I mean? Stop playing. So while they're standing there, who comes in but Dylan? Dylan saying hi to Maurice, and Maurice's mouth is hanging open, and Sabrina's like, hi, Dylan, and Dylan's like, hi, but he's still looking at Maurice, and he brought that vision board saying that it was on his way to work, so he decided to drop it off. But Maurice said, thank you, but I don't appreciate you stopping by my job without letting me know first or something like that. And he said, oh, I'm sorry or something. He said, could I see you later? He said, yes, very soon. But, Paige is like, you don't even talk to your own sister? He's like, hey, they acting all silly or something like that. And then Dylan leaves and Sabrina's looking at Maurice like, you talking about me. What about you? So they both got something going on with men's. Next, we see Danny leaving work and she's walking, I guess, towards her car. And she sees Officer Green with Leonard about to put him into a police car. And Leonard's like, this is your fault. You told me to this. After what they did in firing us. She said, Leonard, I still got my job. I don't know about you. And she asked Officer Green, was he the only officer in Atlanta? And he's like, oh, you didn't know? I'm the one that's in charge. So he has these other two officers put Leonard in the car. And he walks over to the side telling Danny, please tell me you didn't encourage him to do this. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. She said, I'm legally blind. I didn't see nothing. And she's touching his face. And he said, you're hilarious, And she was like, you would sound like you trying to make me his accomplice and I don't want to have nothing to do with it. He says, is that the way you saying that you want me to put you in handcuffs? And she was mumbling like, don't threaten me with a good time. He's like, what was that you said? She was like, no, look at the time. I gotta go, And so he said he wanted to ask her something, but he didn't think when he saw her before was a good time. And she's like, really? And she looking him up and down. So they never continued that storyline. It ended right there. Then we have a quick scene with Zach in the gym and he's working out and then his phone was vibrating. He looks at his phone and an account and he's like, oh, shoot, I can't believe I just got 100 racks or something like that. So I don't know where he's getting this money from. Everybody's trying to throw out different places where he might be getting this money from. Maybe Gary sent him money back or whatever else. But then Mr. Keys come in and he sees Zach being happy and stuff. And he starts questioning Zach about, where he's from, what's his last name and all this stuff. And Zach is like, look, if you want to steal my identity, you have to go faster than one question at a time. Then he said, look, what's up? And he's like, did you know Gold? And he's like, no. He said, how about Gladys? He said, Gladys is my mother. So he's saying he was best friends with Zach's father. So Zach is like, well, then you was best friends with a deadbeat who didn't care nothing about his son. And, Mr. Keys is like, I didn't know about that. And he said, but if you ever want to know about him and meet with, we could go and sit down and eat and I could tell you. And he kind of like put a damper on Zach's day at that point because he said, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I put a damper on your day. You was happy and everything. And Zach's like, I don't even know how to think right now, you know. And he walked away and left Keys standing there. And then the last storyline was with Andy and Dr. Vaughn, who comes unexpectedly to her job and show up, and she's like, "What are you doing here? What are you?" Who he just happens to come into the conference room. What happened to the receptionist calling people? I'm getting confused by this. The receptionist is supposed to call and let you know, especially now that she's a partner in the law firm. You don't just let people walk in and just do whatever, go anywhere they want in the building. But that's what we saw because this is Tyler Perry land, right? So Andy's like, did Fatima see you? He's like, no, I didn't see her, but I could call her Fatima. Fatima. She said, no, no, no. I was like, what do you care if people see this? So he comes with the 2 cups of coffee. She's like, they got a coffee machine here. He said, yes, but this coffee is made by a black couple downtown with a cafe, and the beans come from Cameroon and Jamaica. So he tells her to try it, and she does like it and stuff. And then he said, oh, I meant to ask, how's Miss Mott doing? And she said, oh, she's fine. She's safe. And I think she tells him a little bit of what happened, and then mentions that 2 of the ladies in her group were patients of Dr. Cruz. So he's like, he really loves her passion, and he gonna ask her when he gonna be able to see her outside of these clothes. And she's like, excuse me? And he was like, I mean, out of your work clothes. I was like, shoot, her work clothes are her evening clothes, and she always dressed up, Dr. Vaughn. So Andy said she'd love to make that happen, and he said, I don't mind being patient, but closed mouths don't get fed, and I like to eat. And Andy mumbled under her breath, and I like to get ate. So she said, oh, I like to eat too. And he said, I know just what you mean. And he started kissing her, and they in a conference room with glass walls. You're a partner. You're not supposed to be making out with some guy that just come in, whether he a friend, foe, whatever. And she's laughing and trying to giggle and trying to get away from him or something. And her mother comes around the corner talking about Andrea Monique Barnes. And Andy backs away and says, Mom? And that's how it went off. So y'all let me know down in the comment section what y'all thought about this episode. And Dr. Vaughn, you said you don't want no drama. But uh-oh, here comes Andy's mama. So even though this is our first time meeting her, we already know. And Andy comes with drama. You better run, Dr. Vaughn, run. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. I thought it was pretty good. And I will see you all in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. It's your girl, Barbie J, saying peace.